viewers, good evening. Good evening. I'm just testing over here. I hope everyone is great. I hope you had a great week or you're having a great week so far. It's Friday. And I put out a post earlier that I was going to talk about the kinds of houses we have no business buying. We should not be buying some houses. So it's not everything you see on the market that you should buy. And people run into a lot of bad situations from just finding a house that's out there and just deciding you want to go ahead and buy it. Okay, so let me do a quick sound check here. 1 minute. Let's see. I think everything sounds good. Let's just make sure. Okay, I really hope you can hear me. Let's see. Okay. Well, if you can't hear me at any point, please let me know. Okay. Okay. All right. So let me go ahead with what I wanted to share with the group tonight. So, types of houses not to buy. All right. So maybe you've seen something like this. I know this is pretty sketchy, very funny. A toilet is facing the side. I mean, this just doesn't look right. Let's see. And maybe you've seen something like this. I wonder if you have. I don't know if this is going into a closet. It looks like a closet because I see hangers here. And there's a door that opens out to the staircase. It's a mess. Okay. Let's see what else we have here. We have a refrigerator kind of sitting on a baseboard. Doesn't make sense, right? Isn't that funny? And see how we can't even open this oven. You know what? I have a better way of actually checking out my sound. How didn't I think about that? Let me go on the group and see if everything looks good. That way, I know I'm not talking to myself alone. Okay, so sitting on a baseboard. That way. Okay, we're live. We have volume. Okay, great. Awesome. Okay, I'm back. So maybe you've seen something like this. I don't know. This is real life, but we're not even sure how to open this, right? And this toilet is right underneath the sink. I don't know how anyone gets down there, but are these real pictures? I don't know. Have you seen crazy things in houses that maybe you've done a walkthrough trying to buy a house and you just saw something that turned you off? Yes, those things really exist. Okay, so first of all, on the list is a functionally obsolete home. So when we say functionally obsolete, it means that as far as functionality is concerned, the home is not really designed in a way that it's functional enough. Okay, so like in this photo, this room is leading into another room that then has a closet. Normally, a correct real room is supposed to have its own closet and it's supposed to be separate. It's not supposed to be leading to another room. Okay, so this is pretty sketchy because I mean, there's no privacy for people who are in individual rooms, and this can actually create a problem if you want to resell this property. How many people are going to buy it? You might be fine with it, but when it comes to a time where you need to move, maybe you even want to rent it out, but you can't really do a lot with it because it's not very realistic as far as function is concerned. So a functionally obsolete home is something we should be staying away from. So if your room has no closet, you should be asking why it doesn't have a closet, because a real room should have a closet. So anything that doesn't make sense as far as functionality is concerned is something that's termed functionally obsolete. Back in the days, those things did happen and people were fine with it. But over time, the code requirements for each town started to upgrade and update. And here we are today in this brand new world where we're on a really, really fast pace, and we're having higher quality things, we're thinking better, we're doing things in more efficient ways. This is a home that, realistically speaking, no one would like to settle for, right? So you shouldn't be that person who's settling for this, okay? And then a home that's extremely small. You might be fine with a 300 square foot home like this one in the photo, but what happens when you need to sell it? How many people are going to be interested in a small home? Usually Americans grow from a small home into a big home. So even if you were looking to rent out this property, you put it out for rent, and then the people who are in there can't even, they can't even be there for longer than maybe a year. If they have a baby, if they have two children, they probably won't stay that long. So you're also thinking about turnover, okay? So high turnover, and we don't want that. And as an investor, hopefully you're not just thinking as a homeowner, but as someone who's looking to buy properties, to invest in properties. Okay, so let's move on to the other category. Another home you should not be buying is a home that has steep staircase. So this can actually be a code violation. So this can actually be functionally obsolete as well, because if you think about it, you're trying to walk on the steps and half of your foot is out, right? That's a trip hazard already. And you're worried about having to bill or task your insurance for people who fall, okay? So it's very important that you're paying attention to things like this. If you have a steep staircase, it's very hard to correct this because you might not have enough headroom to correct it, and you might not have enough linear room either. So vertically or horizontally, it can be really hard to fix this. So the best thing you want to do is stay away from it completely. All right, and then a home in a flood zone. You should not be buying a home in the flood zone, and here's the reason why. Number one, homes in the flood zone would require you to have additional insurance. Okay, so additional insurance on a monthly basis. Okay, so you're adding to your monthly mortgage if you're buying a home in a flood zone. That's number one. Number two, a lot of lenders don't like to lend to homes in a flood zone. Okay, so if your home is in a flood zone, or if you're looking at a property that's sold in a flood zone, then you're also worried about financing for that property because not a lot of mortgages would approve this home. Okay, and then number three is the buy and pull for a home like this is really low. So when you move and you need to resell this house so you can move on to a better home, you're not going to find a lot of bites on this property. So it's best to not go into it. Okay, so another home you should stay away from is a home on a busy road. So if a home is like right at a T junction, an X junction, whatever junction it is, and in some places in America, you have this yellow lines that is kind of indicative of a busy road, then you want to try to stay away from that home because there's just not a lot of interest. So when you're buying a home for yourself, you have to also think about the ability to resell the home in the future. So if the home is something that you bought wrong and you're not able to sell in the future, then you're going to need to drop the price in the future to be able to sell it. And that's not the kind of investment a lot of people are thinking about. Right now, when you buy a home, you're hoping to build equity. You're hoping that the home would appreciate. So if you cannot sell it for the real value at that point because of these issues you can't fix, then it's better not to go into it in the first place. Okay, so another home you should try to stay away from is a home in a poor zone. So if the school ratings are extremely poor, I mean, sometimes average is fine, but you need to look at the school ratings. Are the ratings good? Is this home in a crime zone? You want to look at what's going on in that area as far as crime is concerned. as far as school ratings are concerned. Again, this is not just for you. You might be fine with whatever school that is, but also to resell in the future. And also, if you were saying, oh, I'm buying this property, I'm going to rent it anyways, you as a landlord need your peace of mind. You don't want your tenants calling you about gunshots or your property management telling you about all these ugly stories happening at your home. And the probability is that this home would not even appreciate for as high as other homes in those other areas in the same town, in the same state. So you have to be careful. Make sure you're watching, you're really careful about picking homes in good areas or average areas. But when you start to get into the really, really poor zones, really, really poor ratings, then it becomes really tough. Okay. And then another home to stay away from is a home with a tiny yard. So people are looking to party in the summer. You're looking to invite friends over. I mean, technically speaking, usually, or let's just say more accurately, generally speaking, if this does not exist, people are not really drawn to it. You might be fine with it because right now maybe you think, oh, I'm single, I don't hold a lot of parties. But when the time comes for you to actually sell this property for what it should be worth, it can be a problem. So try to stay away from a home with a tiny yard, okay? And then another home to stay away from is a home with a small kitchen. So usually we the ladies are the ones who make the buying decision on a home. And this is the ladies' place. This is where we spend a lot of time. We spend a lot of our time in the kitchen doing a lot of different things. So we want it to be a comfortable arrangement. We want it to be a good enough space to even have people just relax and cook with you or chat with you or something like that. So if the home total size of the home is like 1,000 square foot, okay, we don't expect the kitchen to be like huge, gigantic or anything like that. But when it starts to when you're building towards like a mansion or when you're buying a bigger size home, make sure that the kitchen size is proportionate to the size of the home, big enough. Okay, so people who are making the buying decision are women for the most part in a family, and if a woman says no, that sale is not going to go through. So just save yourself that headache ahead of time. Don't buy a home with an extremely small kitchen. And I say these things because, like, I'm an investor. I think about the selling and the buying side of things. When I'm buying and when I'm selling, what do I look out for? And that's why it's important for you to hear what I'm saying and reason like me, because now you might be on the buying side. In the future, you would be on the selling side. So if it's okay for you right now, would not mean that it's okay for someone in the future. Okay. All right. So here is a home with structural issues. So before buying a home, of course, you want to do your inspection. Okay, so hire an inspector to inspect the whole entire home. But even before you get to that stage and waste your money on inspections, look at this basement. You see this huge crack? I would not make an offer on this home. You should not make an offer on this home. It has a huge crack. It's buckling. It looks like it has had some water going to the concrete, and it looks like a little swollen. It's been through a lot, you can tell. So this is something you should stay away from. Sometimes the cracks are not as huge as this, okay? But they can be like small, tiny spiral cracks. So if they're like spider-like cracks, you in the future, definitely if you're looking, you should stay away from homes that have like spider-like cracks in the foundation. Okay, so if it's like a horizontal, actually a vertical crack, I would just take it with a grain of salt and just see if my inspector can let me know if that's a bad one or not. But you knowing upfront, if you just see something that's vertical and it's not like that deep, yeah, definitely you can do something about it. But if it's like horizontal, spiral, especially like scattered all over the place, there's a place in Connecticut that has this crumbling foundation issue because there was a time back in the days, I think it's between 1983 to 2015, that concrete place actually supplied concrete to builders. and the whole of their concretes contain a bad element, what I say, called pyrrhotite. So that pyrrhotite caused a lot of issues in certain areas in Connecticut. Okay, and that's what they termed crumbling foundation. And this is one big thing about crumbling foundation. You would actually see spider-like cracks in the basement, okay, here and there. And with that kind of home, honestly, it's gone, because I mean, for the most part, well, it depends on the market value of that home. So if the market value is really high, maybe you can actually take out that foundation and replace it with a new one, but that alone can cost the value of the house itself. So if the government is not going to fund it, then that's deep trouble. So people run into foreclosures, people run into issues. They needed a place to stay and things like this. So that's a big issue. Ahead of time, you should already, know that that's not something you want to get into. Okay. And then, still talking about structural inconsistencies, you should stay away from sagging floors. Okay. So this floor is curved downwards. You can see something trying to get in between. So it's like, it's not leveled, right? If it was level, it would be straight, but there's still space between the framing and the floor. And this is the hardwood flooring. When you go into the basement of this kind of home, you're going to see the LVL, which is the structural bearing of that property. You're going to see that it's curved. Sometimes we can take care of the situation and have this jacked back up. But when you jack back up, you have to be careful, because you might be structurally damaging a bunch of things in that home. So depending on the extent of how sagged the floor is, you might actually be able to fix it, but it's not guaranteed, but it would cost you money. So you decide if you really want to go this route, especially as a newbie. If you've never done this before, you've never done like fix and flip before, anything like that, then you want to be careful taking on a project like this or buying a home like this for a first-time home buyer. And then another home to stay away from is a home with no dining area. And I always tell the story about how when we started with new constructions, there was this home that this architect who had a 30-year experience missed a dining area on, and we did not catch it. This home had no dining on the architectural plan. No one caught it until we put this home out for sale on the market, and the feedback we were getting was, it has no dining. I love it. It's beautiful. The garage is huge. The rooms are huge. I love the bathrooms and the kitchen. But this home has no dining. So here's what we did when we kept having that come back to us. It's no dining, no dining. We staged one of the bedrooms. It had 4 bedrooms. It wasn't like a super huge home like that, but 4 bedrooms was a lot. I mean, 4 bedrooms and 2 baths. So we kind of cut it down in our heads to 3 beds and 2 baths, because we staged one of the bedrooms as a dining area, the one closest to the kitchen. And I mean, eventually the home sold, but check it out. We probably wouldn't have needed to reduce the price on the market on this property. So ahead of time, learn from my experience, our mistakes, and stay away from a home that has no dining area. So if you're buying one right now, let's say it's a small condo or something, not a big deal, right? But if you're buying a super big home, or maybe a home that's anywhere between 1,500 2,000 square feet and up, and there's no dining area, you want to be careful, because when it's time to sell, you might not get enough dips. There might not be enough buying pull for that property. So be careful. Okay. Another kind of home to stay away from are homes in noisy areas. So if it's close to like a shooting range, if it's close to like weird places, it's like right next to the airport, and you can literally hear every plane take off, you might be cool with that. Other people might not be cool with that. And that affects the value of your property down the line. So you want to stay away from homes in noisy areas. Okay. And then we have homes with unkept neighbors. So you're buying this really nice, gorgeous looking home, but you have a next door neighbor that looks just like this. Not only is the house weird, but also the neighbor has a lot of junk in their yard. And this is not like a temporary thing. No one is moving or anything. This is just like a lifestyle. Okay. So this is very unattractive. And actually, I'm going to give you guys a case study of something like that happened with my students here. It's a Coventry fix and flip. That was actually their first deal. It was a fix and flip. And they purchased this property in the winter, this property right behind them. And they did purchase rather in the summer, but they were done rehabbing and they put it on the market in the winter. So purchase in the winter is wrong. Actually, it was purchased in the summer. And you know how it is with summer, where you have leaves having their full-blown leaves with enough shade. If you're around the northeast area or anywhere it snows, you know that during the summer you have a lot of leaves, like leaves covering your neighbors. Leaves covering your backyard. You can't see any houses behind you and things like that. So in the summer, as you can see here, there's a lot of privacy, right? But what happens in the winter? During the winter, you're not going to see any leaves. You're just going to see like just the stems, just the branches, just the tree branches and stems is really what you're going to be seeing, And so during the summer, they couldn't really see their neighbor. And that was not actually the side neighbor. It was the opposite side neighbor. So this is the right side of the home. And the other side was the other side of the home. So this neighbor was the neighbor who was covered with a nice partition of trees filled with leaves. But in the winter, when they were selling this home, all the leaves disappeared. And when you come into this house, you see the neighbor just like, is this the neighbor that I am going to have? Okay, because when people buy a house, they see it as my pride. They're inviting friends over. They're having people come take a look, come take a pic. They're holding parties. And it's not a thing of pride for your neighbor to be that way. Like literally that way. That was a bad neighbor. So because of that, when they put this property out to sell, they didn't have a lot of dips on it because of the neighbor. You wouldn't even think that a neighbor could cause that problem. You wouldn't think that people wouldn't buy a house because of a neighbor. So it did sit for a little longer on the market, but thankfully, it was their very first deal. They did a absolutely great job, fantastic. It was a complete turnover. Eventually, they did sell the house and they had a $35,000 profit. For that year, they did 3 deals, which absolutely, actually, I'm going to put a link to one of their testimonials. Yes, I'm going to put a testimonial link onto the, I'll just navigate around this. Okay. See, do I have access to the comments? I'm going to put a testimonial link. Okay, good. Let me put this here. So that's a link. I think there's would probably be the first one on there talking about, I think they talked a little bit about their first deal and how it went. And it was at that time after they were done that we heard from them to see how they were doing. But thankfully, they made good money. They were looking at around 60K profits, but more repairs that they had to do and things like that ended up with a 35K profits, which is not too shabby for a first deal. For my first deal, fix and flip, it was a 40K profits, and that was, it wasn't like they had a lot going on. So kudos to them. They did a great job, and I'm glad they were able to complete 3 additional deals. And that, yeah, so those issues are real. Be very careful. Everything we talked about when you're buying a house, you have to look out for things like that. Be very careful, because down the line it can really go the opposite direction. You're not going to feel that excitement you felt when you bought that property. After that, I hope you don't feel something else. So be careful what kind of houses you're buying. And I'm so happy that I was able to do this. So I know that I've gotten a couple of questions about our coaching program. Okay, and I will just talk about it briefly right here. So, who is this for? I mean, the coaching program is basically for anyone who's passionate about their finances and wealth building. So, if you're passionate about making a change in your finances, then it's for you. If you're hardworking, you work hard, you have a lot on your plate, yes, but you feel that you can handle actually that shift of moving from a certain mindset, a certain person to a different person. And yes, that happens. We've had go through our testimonials, you're going to see how things change for a lot of people. It is possible. All our students right now are actually full-time employees and they're doing multiple deals. And I always say, if they can do that, anyone can do that. A lot of them, in a year, in 2 years, they're going to be financially free. And it's so amazing. Honestly, anytime I think about that, I am so amazed. So that's who it's for. If you're passionate and you want to carry that passion forward to change your life. I know people are confused these days because there's like a million different businesses online you can do. Okay. There's like a digital business, there's whatever business, there's an Amazon business. And I would say this about real estate: whatever business you choose to do in your lifetime, you still need to own real estate. Even if you're doing stocks, cryptocurrency, whatever it is, you still need real estate. Okay, because real estate is the only real thing. If you think about it, properties only appreciate over time. They don't go down in value, if not for any reason, for inflation, right? Things don't become cheaper in the future. Okay, so any investment you have right now that's not over your savings percentage, however amount you're getting, savings is not even really a real investment, honestly, because 2% inflation rate is between 7 to 8% right now. Okay, so if your investment is earning you 5%, you're losing between 2 to 3% on a yearly basis, because guess what, that money is not growing big enough. So like what 3,000 was buying last year, 3,000 does not cover it anymore this year. Do you get it? That is the power of inflation. And that's how you know your money has reduced in value. That's how you know you've lost money, because your 3,000 sitting in your savings last year is now worth what? Maybe 2,000, let's just say, right? Or maybe 2,500, but you only earned $100 on it from your savings. So that is horrible because you have lost money. Okay, so whatever you choose to do, do it. But you still need real estate investing. You still need to buy properties, because you're not just talking about appreciation. You're talking about tax benefits. Okay, you're talking about mortgage pay down. After a while, your tenants are going to pay off that property, and you're going to have a bunch of properties that are free of clear of any kind of mortgage to hand over to your children and your generation. Tell me what other investment can do that for you. Tell me what other investment can, in addition to doing that for you, appreciating, getting your mortgage paid down, what other investment can give you that monthly cash flow that can actually replace your income? In my first year of real estate investing, thank God, I was able to replace my income as a pharmacist that I was at the time with the company, with corporate, so what other investment can replace your income within a year? I'm telling my facts here. So I think that whatever you choose to do, whatever business you choose to do, everybody knows side hustles are necessary these days. But whatever you need to do, you choose to do, whatever employee you are, whether you're a doctor, whether you're a pharmacist, whether you're into music, whether you're into some form of talent or the other, whatever you do, you need to invest in real estate. Okay. So if you're curious about what we do in our coaching program and how we can help, certainly send me a DM. And if you just wanted to go right away to apply into the program and see if you would be a good fit for it, I'm going to put a link here please go ahead and apply. Honestly, this program is not for everyone. If you don't put in the necessary work, you're not going to get any results. But so it is with anything that makes sense in life. Anything that makes sense in life. I went to pharmacy school for 6 years to even be able to get the kind of results I got at the time. 6 years of work. But I didn't have to do half of that to start a real estate investing business. But I did work. Oh, yes. That first year, I did work. My husband did work. We did good work. So when you're doing work to start up a business, it is work. So you can't 100% not do anything and expect to see results. You definitely have to. If you're going into the no money down route in real estate investing, you put in the work. So if you don't have the money, you put in the work. It's a mix. Sometimes you put in money to get a lot of money back. Sometimes you don't need to put in any money, depending on how you structure the deal. I am more into the no money down side of things because that's how I have been rolling as a real estate investor. Okay. But you can use your money if you have whatever money. And if you don't have any money, don't let that stop you because you can actually invest in real estate. Buy real estate property if you don't have money in the bank right now. There are different ways to go about that. Anyway, so I'm here to offer that solution to you. If you have any questions, definitely reach out to me and I will be so excited to help you. I hope that this session was helpful and I hope you look into the kind of houses not to buy. And I hope in the future, when you're making your buying decision, you can hear my words, literally hear my voice in your head. Like some of my students say, they hear my voice in their head when they're sleeping. I don't know if that's creepy or what, but hopefully you can remember everything I said on this call and put that to work on your next personal property or investment property. Have a great weekend.